Welcome back to the channel, guys. Today we are diving into the ins and outs of Blake Lively being spotted at a donut shop over the weekend. I think it was yesterday, Sunday the 30th. And we're going to, of course, because this is the channel we do that, look at from a position of pop culture, power, and media manipulation. And when we look at pop culture, it's always from branding and marketing, because that's my background. That is quite literally what I do, is branding and marketing for everyone from startups, entrepreneurs that are just starting out, all the way up to high profile public figures. It's what I do. It's what I love. I love the strategy piece. I love the world building of it. And I also love, I'm not going to lie, looking at brands blow up, because it's just so fascinating to see where they're going wrong, to be quite honest. And that's what we're doing today. It's kind of looking at Blake Lively from the lens of, yes, this donut shop pop-up she did, but also how is this just making her rebrand go so much worse? This video is going to get no reach, but I refuse to be silenced, and I refuse. People magazine broke this on March 30th. Now, I've had some concern messages that have popped up in my DMs and on my posts on Instagram this morning saying, did this really happen? Like, no one saw her. It seems set up. Well, it is definite, guys. It is definitely, this is PR through and through. Maybe she's finally listening to her PR team. I still think she needs, man, I have a stain on my shirt. I was cuddling my husky this morning. We have a stain on the shirt. We're just going to roll with it. He was probably drooling all over me after he was eating. I don't know. Any moms, puppy lovers can relate to cuddling your puppies or your kids before you go live and then you have stains. Whatever. We're rolling with it. People used to get mad about lint. Wait till they see a stain. I'm going to love it. The comments I'm going to get. Anyway, I've had people message and say, did this really happen? Was she even there? Funny enough. So I think I first saw the video on Popcorn Planet. I know the person that shared it. I know the person that apparently or allegedly took it through my business. I am assuming, unless things have changed since the last time we spoke last year, she's not in PR. And so I would imagine it's not a plant. I would imagine not. Although I'm always open to being shocked. I am always open to who knows who and 6 degrees of separation of so-and-so and someone being planted somewhere. But I know the person. It is a real video. Therefore, I can vouch and say that she was there. And as soon as I saw the Career Guardian Angel tag, we're going to play it on TikTok as well. I was like, oh my gosh, that's Anna. I know Anna. So I'd say she was there. Now, does it mean it's not PR? It's definitely PR. 100% PR. I think she's finally listening to her PR. This is what I was saying earlier this morning. I think she's finally listening to her PR, but I still think her PR is doing a shit job, honestly. And we're going to talk about that in this video as well. If you're going to hard rebrand like this, take some time off before. Take a vacay, go away for a bit, and then come back with the rebrand. A hard rebrand in the middle of a crisis with no time between is just so jarring, and it rarely lands. It's very rarely successful, but I guess she just can't stay out of the public eye. All right, let's look at People magazine on March 30th. It had Blake Lively surprises fans by working behind the counter at I'm guessing that's Connecticut. I don't know. I feel like only Americans would know what CONN means, but I'm going to take a wild guess. Donut shop. She was in a really happy mood. Source. The actress made a stop at the pastry place on March 30th amid her ongoing legal battle surrounding It Ends With Us. One of the things we're going to point out is look how she's dressed. This is going to be a stark difference to how she spoke about baking and did PR around baking even as early as 7 months ago. So in this video, or in this picture and the video of her, she looks like a normal person, right? She just looks like a normal person hanging out at her friend's donut store. I've been telling you guys, she's doing a Every Woman rebrand. I also think Ryan Reynolds is in the middle of a rebrand right now. We can deal with that later. Blake Lively is in her self-described happy place. The actress, 37, surprised fans by working behind the counter at a donut shop in Connecticut on Sunday, March 30th. Baking with genius food friends and their kitchen mixer the size of a car, Lively wrote alongside a photo of the kitchen tool on her Instagram stories, adding, "This is what my happy place looks like." I don't doubt being with friends and baking can be a happy place, but it just comes across so disingenuous when it's very obvious a PR move. A source tells People that Lively was in a really happy mood during the visit, and she said she is friends with the owner of Rise Doughnuts in Wilton. At one point during the visit, a father and son chatted with Lively, and the dad told his child her husband is Deadpool, referring to Ryan Reynolds' popular role as the Marvel character. See, this is where I don't know if she would have approved of this line being included, to be quite honest, because I think this is what bugs her the most, is she's like Taylor Swift's bestie and the wife to Deadpool. But alas, her husband is Deadpool, someone said. And then there was this Instagram story that was shared where she said baking with the genius friends and their kitchen mixer the size of a car. This is what my happy place looks like. And again, she's dressed in normal clothes. She doesn't even have nail polish on. Like, from a branding perspective, I'm looking at even that. Like, she doesn't have nail polish on. Her shoes aren't fancy, glittery, shoes that only designers would be able to give you. Maybe these are designer shoes, but again, they look normal. They look like a normal person would wear these shoes. I would probably wear those shoes out. Lively has highlighted her love of baking in the past and has shared many of her culinary creations with fans on her social media, which she has and we're going to address. Earlier this year, Reynolds 48 tagged his wife in a post on his Instagram stories that showed off dog-inspired cupcakes seemingly crafted by the actress. Soundtracked with Rosemary Clooney's version of How Much Is That Doggy in the Window, Reynolds' picture of the treats showed 6 cupcakes on a platter, each decorated with frosting to resemble dogs. That is very interesting to me because isn't Isabella Ferreira the granddaughter of Rosemary Clooney? I believe she is the granddaughter of Rosemary Clooney. I don't remember off the top of my head, so please don't quote me on that. But she is related to Rosemary Clooney. So that is interesting. Is that an Easter egg, Ryan Reynolds? Was that an Easter egg to Isabella Ferreira, who seems to have fallen off the face of the earth since all of this went down? Has anyone checked on her? Does anyone know she's okay? I mean, I'm being facetious, but that just seems like an interesting choice of all songs. But anyway, the actor, who shares 4 children, Lively, daughters James 10, Nez 8, and Betty 5, plus son Olin 2, also added animated dog and baking stickers to the Instagram post. So again, here's Blake at her friend's donut shop with her hair hanging over the donuts, which is an interesting choice. Her hair looks, and I don't mean this to be rude, but I genuinely think they're just going for this mom, every woman vibe. And again, I don't mean this to be rude, but her hair looks like it needs to be washed. And her sister, I think that's her sister in the background, kind of looks like she has potentially the camera app open on her phone, maybe. It does look like it. I mean, it was set up at the end of the day. It was 100% set up. There's intention. She's wearing something that's a lot more approachable, just a normal black tank top with a striped apron over top, little makeup, maybe to no makeup, maybe some lip gloss, maybe a little bit of concealer. And her hair looks like a mess. I mean, I'm not one to talk, but I also don't sell hair products. So, there's that. Lively's daytime outing at the sweet shop this weekend came amid her ongoing legal battle surrounding her film. All right, we don't need to get into that. We all know that. Let's watch the video of her there. All right, for those that are skeptical, like I said, I know this person, and I'm not saying that doesn't mean she wasn't planted there. However, I know this person is a real person. This is the video of Blake at the donut shop. So you can see Blake in the back. I mean, it doesn't look like, and maybe I'm wrong, but it doesn't look like she was out front. So, which is also interesting. I mean, I'm not saying that there couldn't be videos that come out that show her up at the front, but it looks like she's in the back with her friends, which is interesting. Again, they knew if she went there, there'd be videos, people would be talking about it, and likely people part of her team, not People Magazine, but people as in Robin Lively, is that her sister's last name? But those close to her would take video and would post it as well. But that is the video of her at the donut shop. Now, I want to talk a little bit about where this rebrand has gone so wrong, not long. Well, it feels like it's been a long couple months of this. I'm not going to lie, but also wrong. And what I would have done differently with a client. Now, when we're looking at the world's most obvious rebrand, she was moving from the ruler to the every woman brand archetype. What I will say is for this is playing the humble card, the I'm just like you. I'm a mom just like you. Visit my local donut shop just like you. I wear clothes just like you. I bake cookies with my kids just like you. Playing the humble card when you are doubling down on your SH accusations on the guy the internet is actually behind and the guy who was the underdog, the internet and the world loves battling for and standing up for the underdog, to me is a bad move. Like I said, what I would have done if this was my client, I don't specifically work with PR, I'm on the branding side, but from a brand strategy perspective, I would say you need to go away for a bit and let your team take care of everything. Go off to like a retreat, go off to an island, go off to, I don't know, some spiritual awakening, do something, and then come back with this almost hero's arc with a new brand archetype and be authentic about it, Blake. But they've done misstep after misstep because they're treating branding and PR as if it's still 2015. And that's why it just feels off. We've gone from Blake Lively being this fairy tale princess. Look at this headline here. Blake Lively has a fairy tale princess hair moment on the Met Gala 2022 red carpet. Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds dressed like fashion royalty. The word royalty comes up over and over and over and over again in their marketing over the years. That was for the 2022 Met Gala. Only Blake Lively would bake in a Chanel cardigan and Louis Vuitton loafers. Oh, maybe they are Louis Vuitton shoes she was wearing, but they looked like normal people's shoes in the donut shop video. But what do I know? I do not know fashion. It is not my job to know fashion. So again, only Blake Lively would bake in a Chanel cardigan, not the every woman. And she was leading with that. That was 2023, leading with the clothes. And we've seen that over and over again, which also makes her, congrats on your little bump issue with Shasti, so jarring as well, because she loves talking about clothes. It's how she's been branded as this Met Gala princess, as royalty within fashion. And then she gets offended by someone not just pointing out or congratulating her on her little bump, but talking about the fashion. And that's why it was so jarring for people to also see that video, because it's like, but that's the brand you've built. I don't understand. And that's how you immediately lose trust with your audience, is when you flip the script on them like that. And that's where Blake doesn't understand. Sorry, guys, I am tired. I'm going to be tripping over my words. My puppy was up all night. He was tired, he wasn't feeling well. So I'm tired because of it. So I'm going to be tripping over my words today. And that's when we look at missteps within a brand, having that drastic of a flipping of the script creates distrust within the people that are witnessing it, causes distrust with the audience because they're going, wait, what? It doesn't make sense to me. But Blake genuinely, I believe, did not think that the public could not like her, or the public could not connect the dots and see how it was coming across as fake. And so when that video came out, it had to be part of a smear campaign. When all of the public backlash came out, it had to be part of a smear campaign. But all it was the fact that her brand never made sense now really coming to the center stage, and people going, I knew I didn't like her. I knew something didn't add up. I knew there was something about her that didn't make sense. And so even if someone was kind of like, yeah, I'm neither here nor there on her, it doesn't really matter. Her brand, meh, whatever. I like her husband or I don't like her husband. You start to move those people that were mid, like in the middle, kind of neutral on her, to over the not liking her piece, because now they could put their finger on what they didn't like about her, and it was because she was disingenuous. Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds are favorite celebrity parents. Like, they kept being positioned within media and within their PR and their marketing as royalty, quite literally royalty. And here's the thing, Blake has a history of baking. However, this is also why her brand created tension that you do not want in your brand. And I'm going to show you this Vogue video or a clip of it. Because again, from the outside, now I will admit, and you do not want people to be confused about your brand. That's the worst thing. If people are confused about your brand, something I say all the time to, especially my personal brands that are also selling something. Confused people don't buy, but it also applies to public figures such as musicians or actors. Confused people do not buy. If you confuse the public on who you are or your brand, they're less likely to go buy a ticket to your stuff, to your concert, to your movie, your book, whatever the case may be. If people are confused about who you are, they're not going to buy. So all along, if we look at her, and if there's one common thread I can find, again, it's that ruler brand archetype. And brand archetypes are based on psychology. They can be used as a box, and I don't agree with that. But they provide a basis for building a brand off of. Now, the ruler archetype really commands attention. I want you to think of even Catherine, Princess of Wales. I hope I said that right. She commands attention. Even though she has the threads of the every woman pulled through in her brand, she still commands attention, exudes excellence, projects power, and exclusivity. That's what Blake typically led with in her brand. Now, when she was adding in this baking vibe over the years, I think she was trying to go, and so many people have tried to replicate the Martha Stewart vibe. Many have failed. She is the OG. But she was trying to almost weave in this Martha Stewart domestic vibe into her brand. And that brand that Martha had built was around like warmth and tradition, hands-on effort, kind of a touch, a flavor, if you will, of the every woman. Now, where Blake went wrong was she was trying to do both without tension resolution. And when you have tension without resolution in your brand, you create cognitive dissonance. So instead of being like charming or cheeky, it felt like, oh, look how perfect I can be at everything while wearing couture, while wearing this beautiful sequenced gown, and I'm making this perfect key lime pie. And that doesn't build connection, it builds distance. And all, like the majority, I'd say 99% of the pictures I could find of her baking have her in beautiful outfits that the every woman is not wearing. And yes, she does talk about the clothes. This is 7 months ago in regards to It Ends With Us again.
My coffee cup's good. There's no branding. There's no name. It's okay. People drink. I need coffee. I got 4 kids. Expect me to make a key lime pie at 1 in the afternoon in a gown without a secret coffee hidden here? You guys are nuts.
So again, there we go. With really, and I think this is again where there's been so many problems with her brand is she even says it. You want me, I'm a mom of 4 kids, and you want me to film baking in a gown without coffee? It's just pick one. And I think she's even trying to be very relatable there. What mom doesn't need coffee? But again, when you're doing it in a gown, the every woman, the every man archetype can't relate to baking in a gown, even if they have 4 kids. So she bakes this key lime pie.
Oh, it's just so divine. My gosh, this is not my food processor. What is happening here? Hold on, I got this. Nope, I got it. It's okay. Almost there, guys. These are macadamia nuts, by the way.
So again, all of the bracelets, all of the like she looks like she legitimately go step out on a red carpet right now. Next, we're going to look at the little bit about It Ends With Us, because again, this was 7 months ago. So it was around the promotional period. Actually, I want to play this piece first before I forget. This piece is talking about her connection to Anna Wintour and who has been a big supporter of her.
I am so grateful and so honored and so proud to be on this issue. Anna Wintour, who I've known for many, many years and has been a supporter of mine since I came to New York, she said to me, okay, do you want to do this with Baz Luhrmann? And I am his biggest fan. I mean, Baz, you can see through his movies.
Okay, so I just wanted to put that out there as the connection, because again, she very much was that Met Gala princess. She had the connections to Anna Wintour, which again is going to get you connections to certain platforms, aka Vogue. And this is something I've said over the years, that often these companies, such as Vogue, is not going to tick off someone like WME when it comes to actually putting out the truth of what's going on, for example, with the Justin Baldoni lawsuits with Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds. Because if you tick off WME, there's a long history of issues like this. You tick off them and you put out an article that is maybe shutting truth on what's going on, you might actually be cut off from all WME clients. So it's just interesting to me that so remember, this is part of the promotional tour for It Ends With Us. It was about 7 months ago. And this is what she has to say about It Ends With Us.
I really like the way my husband dresses, and I also really love the way Gigi Hadid dresses, which is, an odd mashup. I'm sure. I think that the wardrobe was a really critical part of that storytelling, and I'm really, really proud of it. But I'm wearing like a ton of like Bodhi and vintage, and it's some of my favorite wardrobe I've ever worn. It's just like so expressive and eclectic and really gives you such a sense of the character. I'm going to try to squeeze this.
I don't really have anything to say about that. Okay. It gives you a sense of the character, apparently. But I saw some comments saying, well, this is Vogue. She's not going to talk about DV and Vogue. Well, then make appropriate connections in the marketing of the movie. Again, this is just another misstep that people picked up on and it ticked off the public. Then she blamed it on Justin Baldoni. You're promoting a movie that is about DV. They don't want to see you in a sparkly ball gown or whatever it is on Vogue selling Betty Buzz. Yes, she does that. Let's look at that next.
I'm going to put a little bit like this, and then I'm going to pour a little bit of this. And then if you do a cocktail version, I'm going to do Betty Buzz on this one too, because I think with a cocktail, it's better if it's sparkling. So we'll mix this in. And then I always just eyeball it. Like I said, I'm not a drinker, so I do it to flavor. So I'm going to do.
So she's now also selling Betty Buzz. Again, it's not just archetypal branding issues, but this is also a branding issue. It is a marketing problem that she had with maximum effort and her husband, Ryan Reynolds, in marketing It Ends With Us. It just doesn't make sense. It is so inappropriate. And this is what got the public upset. And this is what got the public starting to connect the dots on why her brand just always felt off. I'm telling you guys, look at brands that you're really drawn to. Or if you have a business, look at other business owners within your niche that seem to really not have issues with scaling. It's because they're consistent. They're consistent in who they are. Now, this does not mean that someone cannot bring through different aspects of themselves. For example, Taylor did a great job with that, with having different eras. When she had the different eras, she would bring out different aspects of self, different ways that she would write and sing and clothes, and Reputation was all the black and the snakes, etc. She brought out different aspects of herself, but because she had so much brand consistency within an archetype and how she showed up, she could fluctuate within that brand archetype, or she could bring in different aspects of self, and it makes sense. This is something I tell my clients all the time. It doesn't mean that you have to cut out who you are or things that you're passionate about. You're allowed to be multidimensional. In fact, you should. It's just about overall brand consistency and who you be. That's what it's about. And this is another issue Blake has had. And this is a little clip from that same interview with Vogue, is I really don't believe she knows who she is. And part of her problem with that is I truly believe she picks up aspects of other people's personalities or what works in their brand and tries to put it in her brand. I don't know if she doesn't have a branding strategist or someone that's helping her create a consistent brand, or if she just goes rogue and does whatever she wants anyway. But I genuinely believe that she picks up aspects of other people's personalities and tries to put it in her brand. And whether this is, I'm just going to use this example. I don't know if it happened or not, but I'm going to use it as an example. Taylor Swift has always had baking as a part of her brand prior to her and Blake ever being friends. And I genuinely wonder, and I've seen this happen with many entrepreneurs, many public figures, many clients that come to me with muddy brands and no clear brand identity. And this is exactly what they've done. And when we start to pull it apart, they go, oh my gosh, like I picked up that part from my friend and that part from so-and-so. I didn't realize I was doing that. So I see this happen all the time. Potentially, she could have seen Taylor Swift be very successful, because she is, and her talking about branding to connect, or her talking about baking to connect with people. And Blake could have been like, oh, okay, interesting. Well, I should incorporate that into my brand as well. But because she didn't really understand the branding aspect behind it, she's trying to bring baking in with Chanel outfits, sparkly sequin outfits, and sparkly sequin gowns. You never see Taylor Swift. Well, I don't want to say never. I have never seen Taylor Swift bake in a sparkly sequin gown. It's typically things that you would bake in, which is more relatable. even the humor piece, which we're going to see next. I genuinely believe she sees her husband be very successful with that type of humor, and she just can't nail it because it's just not who she is. It just comes across as mean. And if you have to continually explain to someone that you're joking, you're the problem. You're the problem because it's not a joke, right? So I think she's picked up aspects of her husband, tries to put in her brand. This is one of her biggest issues with her brand and why it's such a hot mess. So let's look at that.
I feel like this is going to end up on OnlyFans, like me leaning over, chest falling out, squeezing this lemon. This is not suitable for work.
So that was a clip from Vogue magazine 7 months ago for the promotion of It Ends With Us, joking about a video of her ending up on OnlyFans. And again, that just goes to underscore, I don't think she knows who she is. And so when we look at this rebrand, now that I've kind of set the stage for you guys, this is what's going on right now. This was only 7 months ago. Her in the sequin. I really like that dress, to be honest. I mean, I wouldn't wear it, but it's beautiful. I love her in that dress. I think she looks beautiful in Vogue, and it matches key lime pie, like very aesthetically pleasing. I like the colors, but she's trying to do baking in a sequenced gown while adding in jokes that maybe her husband might say. But look at this. This is the rebrand. Now, when you see it together like that, this is why your subconscious mind has been like, I don't know why, but something is not fitting right now. Something doesn't feel right. Because overnight, it's not like she went away for a year and then came back with an epiphany that she should be a better person and she shouldn't have done what she did or any of that, right? With an apology, she didn't go away. This is literally overnight in front of our eyeballs. She went from sequenced gowns and the makeup and the jewels, like look at all the jewels on her wrist, all the rings on her fingers, to this with her sister in a donut shop. And she's wearing, it looks like just a plain black tank top, a striped apron. Her hair is not done. And that might be part of the vibe, you know, moms, when's the last time you washed your hair? Like that, genuinely, I'm not saying that to slight her. That might be part of the vibe. Like, oh, moms, my gosh, when you have 4 kids, when do you even wash your hair? I know that feeling. I don't have children, but I am so busy between the farm animal sanctuary and our other farm animals, our chickens, my clients, creating content for YouTube and Instagram. Like I get the feeling of, when is the last time I washed my damn hair? I get that. I can relate to that. Right. So I wouldn't be surprised if kind of the messy hair is part of the vibe, honestly. And she doesn't really have makeup on. Maybe you could argue she might have a little bit of concealer, maybe a little bit of foundation on and lip gloss, but she's just like any other girl that went into her friend's bakery. That would be me in nice weather, not this time of year, but nice weather. That would be me, where I'm just going in to visit my friend, or I'm going to my local bakery. If I go to my local bakery in the summer, I have a tank top on and sneakers, right? So she's really, and that's, you know, maybe some lip gloss on. She's really hitting that. But this is why it feels so off, because the rebrand overnight in front of your eyes is jarring, and it creates cognitive dissonance within the subconscious mind. Now, you do not want cognitive dissonance within the subconscious mind when you're building a brand, whether it's a business or a personal brand as a public figure, an actress in Blake's case, business owner, her and Ryan own businesses. It damages your reputation. When your brand's actions and messaging clash with the values you say or the values you put out to others or the customer experience or how you really want people to pick you up, it creates dissonance and erodes trust. And once you have distrust, it reduces sales and customer loyalty or brand loyalty. And now, doesn't mean that, well, I guess she does have, I was going to say for an actress, doesn't mean she's actually selling products in terms of personal products. However, she is. Betty Buzz, the hair care line. So Blake's complaining about this alleged smear campaign by Justin Baldoni when she's the one, through her crappy branding, that eroded trust herself. When you create cognitive dissonance within your brand, customers will avoid your brand. And that's going to lead to a decline in sales and a decline in customer loyalty. Consistency in your branding wins. It does not mean that you can't have multidimensionality. It doesn't mean you can't enjoy multiple things, but it means the overall brand is consistent, and hers has not been. Oh, and a bigger example, another way that this could happen is, a company claiming to be green, and then it comes out that they've been using unsustainable practices. So if we're kind of getting out of the personal branding space to just give some examples that might land better, or a brand promising high quality, but they deliver low quality, right? Those types of things can create cognitive dissonance, can create distrust within a brand, and then trust begins to erode. She did this to herself. It was not a smear campaign, but we can see this right here. And this as well is going to create distrust within the brand. Now, someone that has done this very well, whether you like her as an artist or a businesswoman or not, someone that has woven in the baking really well is Taylor Swift. And it fits because even when she's done these features, and interestingly enough, I saw this article, 11 reasons why Taylor Swift and Blake Lively are our favorite food-loving celebrities. And that was from 2016. Anyway, even when she's doing like a clearly glammed up professional shoot for a magazine, she's got like a little, I don't know, sundress on, I guess that you would call it. So it's not the sequenced gown that Blake even admitted was a gown. It's a sundress. Who doesn't bake in a sundress? I mean, it's a lot more relatable. She doesn't even have kids. So it's not even like she's trying to play like the mom and what mom wears a white sundress while baking vibe. It's a sundress. We have other pictures with just normal black long sleeve shirts, tights on, patterned shirts with a white apron. Like she just looks like a normal human when she's baking. So it lands so much better and it matches her brand that she built. And it matches the brand archetype she's used, the messaging she's used. She's always said she's a homebody. She's always said she's enjoyed baking. And it honestly, when you look at her when she's on stage in the sequence and as the pop star, because her brand has been so strong, you still connect her as, even though she's on stage, she's like me. You see her fans always say, we made the right person famous, because her branding has been so strong that even when she's on stage in the sequence and with, hundreds of thousands of people watching and all this media attention, you're like, oh, she's just like me. She loves cats. Very smart branding move, putting the cats at the front. Everyone loves cats. It's an easy point to connect with people with. She loves cats. She loves Law and Order SVU. I mean, who doesn't love Law and Order SVU? Everyone does, I think. She loves Law and Order SVU with her cat Olivia. She bakes with her friends. She's a homebody. Like, she's just like me. And this is what would happen to me if I had an alter ego within myself that was a pop star at night and, went home to my cats during the day. It's just so relatable. So you see all the time online, we made the right person famous, whether that is who she is behind the scenes or not. We're going to leave that aside because that is the brand she created. And it's why she has such a strong following. It is also why if sketchy text messages come out between her and Blake Lively, that it is going to shatter her brand. It is going to have a lot of issues for her brand. I would say if there is something very concerning that's going to come out, I would expect big news within her brand around the same time. I imagine they would wait to around the same time that the potential for it to leak or the potential for it to get out or just for the public to know through court documents, because you want to create like a remember who she is. Remember that customer loyalty, that client loyalty, like this is Taylor. Ignore that. This is Taylor. She's getting married. She's having a baby, whatever it is, right? So I would imagine we could expect some big news if there is damaging text messages that come out, because when you build a brand that's this strong and this polished without appearing polished, like Taylor's brand is very polished without appearing polished. They've done a good job with it for what she's desired to create, right? Not everyone wants that. More other people want rough around the edges brands. Other people want more raw and authentic. And, this is me. Every brand's different. For what they've gone for in building Taylor's brand, it's worked really well. But this is also where it becomes problematic if any issues come up, because it goes completely against who she is in public. And then now you have who she is behind the scenes does not match who she is in public, which can be an issue. All right. That is what I have for you guys today. I genuinely believe that the proper use of archetypes is one of the strongest ways you can build a brand. And it can also be one of the fastest ways to kill a brand. Actually, let's just talk about really quick before I let you guys go. So, how to use brand archetypes in your brand. So, if you are a business owner, stick around. How can you use brand archetypes? Well, they're powerful for creating internal discussions within the organization, within your team, so that everyone's on the same page. And it helps you identify certain characteristics that can help you achieve what really matters, which is ultimately your competitive advantage within positioning and depositioning. So why your audience should not consider someone else. And, for example, I am a branding strategist, well, someone that wants a super polished brand that is overly curated and, wants traditional PR, they're not going to hire me at the end of the day. But that's why I've built my brand the way I have, because I don't want to do that. Right? I think where a lot of people, and I see this all the time in the online space with people coming after streamers and content creators, and they're like, you talk too fast, you talk too slow, you do too much of this, you do too much of that, you shouldn't do this, you should do that. Like, guys, people are purposefully building a brand. Anyone that's good at building a brand is going to create a brand that pushes some people away. So stop wasting your time leaving messages in people's comments, telling them what they should do, because at the end of the day, if someone's doing it well, they are going to intentionally push people away. But that's the whole point, because part of depositioning with a brand is you should have it. This is why you should consider me, and this is why you should not consider me, because I'm not for you. You need to know who you're speaking to. And so for me, if someone's looking for someone very polished, the fact that I'm not polished is intentional, because I don't want to work with someone that wants super polished anyway. So it helps also from even just like creating that North Star within the brand and business for all of your employees, a consistent brand archetype and where you're moving towards, that vision that you're moving towards, can create pretty significant lower turnover within the brand as well. You're attracting the right talent. Brand archetypes are universal. They're symbolic character patterns. It's the subconscious mind. I've seen people trash brand archetypes, and usually people that don't believe in psychology. Is very weird. But it helps brands create strong, resonant identities by tapping into human emotions and experiences. And it allows you to lead with a clear, consistent brand perception, which creates more loyalty and more recognition as well, right? If you see, for example, even just basic bitch level recognition, if you hear a certain singer's voice, bam, you know it's them. You can be watching a TV show and you hear the song, you're like, oh my gosh, that's so-and-so. Because their voice is so recognizable. Another thing for YouTube streamers, if you're following YouTube streamers, you see a thumbnail. And for me, I see thumbnails. I know who it is based on the thumbnail, even if they don't have their picture on it, because of the colors, because of the text, the vibe of their thumbnails. I know who it was, even if I don't see their image on it, or even if their image isn't on it. So it creates instant recognition. And it's also, again, going to separate people. Some people, want the beige and the neutrals, and some people are more drawn to the neons, which you're going to see neons more in the outlaw brand archetype. You're going to see the royal tones more in the ruler. You're going to see the neutrals and beige a little bit, or even pastel colors more in the every woman brand archetype. It doesn't have to be a hard line, but it tends to be where it is. At the end of the day, we recognize certain colors with certain energies. But, at the end of the day, we're looking at recognition. A clear, consistent brand archetype allows you to have that recognition. The danger of a brand archetype is becoming one-dimensional, right? So someone goes too hard into the outlaw, and now you struggle to connect with them because you're like, oh my gosh, are we always just railing against the system? There's always something to tear down? Holy crap, I need a nap. I need a coffee. Can we just take a second? Do you do anything else other than try to tear down systems? So it can be also, if you're go too hard into one, that can push people away as well, because it becomes hard to relate with you. So for example, my leading brand archetype is the outlaw, but I also have different brand archetypes that are woven through. So for example, having a farm animal sanctuary doesn't necessarily fit the outlaw archetype, but it fits some of the other archetypes that I bring into my brand and that I weave through for nuance. Now, at the end of the day, even if I had a farm animal sanctuary, I don't have to add it to my brand. Something I say to my clients all the time is not all of you is required for your brand. So I don't have to talk about it publicly. I don't have to post videos of me on the farm, which I do at Ashley Brandon Eve over on Instagram if you want a little bit of behind the scenes stuff. I don't have to post about that. I don't have to talk that I have a farm animal sanctuary. I don't have to talk that I have a farm at all. I intentionally bring it into my brand. So what happens if you don't bring or understand and respect the nuances, you lean too much into one without nuance and texture, and then it becomes one-dimensional there as well. Let's add this too. I didn't realize I had more. Apparently, I have a lot more for you guys. I had apparently a lot to say. Where Blake went wrong is, number one, she broke her brand contract. So she was primarily the ruler archetype. So that glitz, glamour, elite. She sold aspiration. It works very well selling aspiration. People in self-development do this all the time. They're starting to be called out for it, right? But that kind of lifestyle marketing. Now she's at like, oh man, I have soup kitchen there. She wasn't at a soup kitchen. She was at a donut shop. It's funny because I wrote soup kitchen because in my head I was thinking probably would have gone better if she was at a soup kitchen maybe. With no narrative bridge. And again, there's no character arc. There's no hero's journey. It's just bam. Now she's at the donut shop. And that's not authenticity. It's confusion. It creates confusion. She rebranded in the middle of a scandal. Now, here's the thing. It's not that it's bad to rebrand in the middle of a scandal. Often that's when you need to because people aren't reading the room. A lot of entrepreneurs, business owners aren't reading the room. They're not paying attention to the market. They're not paying attention to their own brand and how they got off track from their values. So sometimes it is just a matter of having to rebrand, either not necessarily in a scandal, but in, a shit sandwich. Something's going wrong in the business. So you're trying to rebrand during it. You really can't, well, you can, but it's very difficult to pivot to this every woman. See the difference here as well. She's the ruler. She's in this beautiful gown at the Met Gala. I love that dress, by the way. If I was to wear a dress that you could turn inside out for a different color would totally be my vibe. I love it. It is so stunning. So, but we have her here in that dress and then her at the, donut shop, which I think it would have gone better maybe if she was at a soup kitchen. I have seen the light. I am now doing good in society. Might have worked a little bit better, maybe. Maybe not. Maybe after some time away would have been more appropriate. And this feels like when we see this stark change, it feels like strategic manipulation because it is. Because it is. It's strategic manipulation. It is PR, not sincere growth. And we're in a society today where people want sincerity. People want to be able to connect with you. Even if you mess up, apologize, own it. I know it feels like we're in a culture where people will still tear you down, and there's always going to be people like that at the end of the day. No matter what era we're in within the collective consciousness, there's always going to be people like that. But overall, people tend to be forgiving if you own your mistakes. I think it would be difficult if she owned what she did and tried to take over the movie and led with an apology. However, this is, I feel, worse. So what ends up happening when you see this stark difference in your head, she's this Met Gala princess. She's a beautiful, stunning fashionista. And now she's all of a sudden, every woman, it feels manipulative. Number 3, she ignored the market. The market shifted in general. There is kind of this idea of like eat the rich, right? Where Taylor has largely remained unscathed with it because ultimately she's had the every woman brand that she's built. So no matter, and then she has SEO manipulation when things go wrong in terms of the Jets, but it's for a different day. But overall, Taylor's been very good at reading the market and staying ahead of shifts. That's what you need to do, stay ahead of shifts. Her and Blake and Ryan have not. The public wants transparency, not overly curated PR stunts. And that's, again, why this donut shop thing feels off. People are rooting for the underdog. And that is the era we're back in, thankfully. I always root for the underdog. But she tried to take the underdog and stomp on him. And then is trying to be like, but I'm just like you. And also with ignoring the market, not just PR, but again, we're in this era where people are just like, their patience short for Hollywood elite complaining about their lives and how hard it is to be famous and be insanely wealthy. People are over it. We're over that era. And they didn't read the room with that. So a lot of people that built specific brands around a certain archetype or a certain air or energy of their brand didn't read the room and got hit for it. Now, you could also look at someone like Mariah Carey, who she doesn't care. She's definitely a ruler archetype. Mariah Carey doesn't care. She doesn't care if you see her. I mean, I don't know her personally, but she's always getting off the air. She doesn't care if she comes across as a diva. She'll show up in ball gowns anywhere. I saw a video of her where she was accepting an award recently and concerned about the lighting, that the lighting might not be good for her. That's so on brand for Mariah, and she's just owned it. She has just owned it. I love what she's done, where she just comes out at Christmas every year, and the branding she has moving from Halloween and to Christmas when she like unthaws. She has owned and dominated that brand archetype. So it can be done. It just can't be done when you're not like Blake. I feel has kind of been unsure. Maybe she's a little bit, maybe she is a little bit self-conscious and doesn't think she's good enough. Maybe, I don't know, but she has just not owned the ruler fully. And maybe it's because it's never been her true identity. So she's felt out of place. I'm not sure, but she's just never fully just owned it. Mariah Carey, I would say, is probably the best example that's owned the ruler archetype, and people love her for it. 4, the strategy was outdated again. So PR and legacy media used to control the narrative. Now content creators ultimately do, which is pissing off legacy media. They treat it like it's 2015, not 2025, and the audience is too savvy and people are just on top of it. And again, I think this is where she genuinely was confused on why people saw what she did as phony and why they were upset with her branding and marketing of It Ends With Us. It felt tone deaf at best. Like at best, that's the nicest way to put it. So anyway, my friends, that is ultimately where she went wrong. And what she could have done instead is what we've talked about: disappear, let it breathe, come back with a clear message, a cohesive brand evolution. And I saw this, I don't even know where I saw this image, but her all done up. Like this is the vibe, right? Like her all done up in this stunningly beautiful gown with donuts in the background. But this is the same mistake I see, honestly, entrepreneurs make every single day. They are not adapting to the market. They're not adapting to shifting cultural movements, for example, in PR or content creation, the death of legacy media. And then when something goes wrong, it collapses. The reality is your brand, if you have a brand, is a living organism. If you're not adapting, you're dying. You must continually be adapting. And that's what they did wrong. Anyway, my friends, this went a lot longer than I originally expected. Apparently, I had more to talk about than I originally thought. Thank you for coming with me on this journey as I stumbled through this. I am so tired. Having a puppy, I think I'm too old to own a puppy, but here we are in the middle of puppydom, and Tundra had an upset belly last night, but we will power through. We're starting Monday off tired, but we will power through the week. I hope you guys have a wonderful week, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, guys. What I found, nobody wants to hear.